Let's talk Aquaman. Directed by Jason Wan and starring Jason Momoa, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Amber Heard, Willem Dafoe, Nicole Kidman, Dolph Lundgren, the list goes on and on. Arthur Curry finds out that he's the heir apparent to the throne of Atlantis and has to defeat his half-brother Orm, who wants to wage war on the land dwellers such as ourselves and unite the seven seas to do so. Aquaman. So this is one DC has, putting it mildly, lost a lot of the faith of the people who watch their movies. Whether you love Man of Steel or didn't, hated Justice League or thought it was okay, they are not as consistent as Marvel, and because of that you tend to go into their movies with uncertainty and trepidation. You just cross your fingers and hope for the best. The only one, in my opinion, that has been really successful was Wonder Woman. So Aquaman, I went into it hoping for the best because I'm a DC fan. And I'm happy to say that it's entertaining as hell. Let's get into it. So, first of all, from a visual standpoint, James Wan knocks it out of the park. He's no stranger to shooting action sequences with films like Fast and Furious under his belt. And what he did for Atlantis blew my mind. For all of the seven seas, really, it's DC's Wakanda. That's what James Wan has done with Aquaman. It's beautiful to behold, and if you can see it in IMAX theaters, that is absolutely the best way to watch this movie, in my opinion. And everything from, like I said, the action sequences are well shot. I was worried that because it's underwater, the action sequences would look hokey. I thought they did a fantastic job with those sequences. Even though it was happening underwater, it still felt powerful. You still felt a sense of weight to the movement, so to speak. Jason Momoa, he does a lot of haka stances and stuff. Haka is a Maori tribal dance, and he incorporates that into the way Aquaman fights and the way he moves, and it made for some really awesome visual shots too when he would pose. So I love that as well. The acting, I felt like everybody here was having a good time. That is something that you really see with DC movies, and I felt that here. Jason Momoa was having a blast. You could tell that from the offset. He's just a surfer dude having fun with this character. And it doesn't mean that he's too light for the dramatic moments. He definitely gives weight where weight is needed in his dramatic moments, in his emotional moments. I loved his chemistry with Amber Heard. I love that they took the time to develop that relationship. We could see why somebody like him would be attracted to like somebody like her, and vice versa as they get to know each other. Amber as Mira. I actually am a huge fan of the Aquaman Rebirth comics, and I felt like she gave us that version of Mira. Patrick Wilson as Orm. Orn, am I saying that correctly? What I liked about Ocean Master and the way he portrayed him, I know some people are saying that he doesn't have the physicality to be a believable match against Arthur Curry Aquaman, and I disagree because they grew up very differently. You see where Arthur tells Mira where he had to fight all his childhood because he was always an outsider. He never fit in anywhere. And then you have his brother, who is a product of royalty. He has that breeding, he has that way he carries himself. Of course, he's not going to have the same body type. They don't have the same parents. They grew up very differently. So I had no issue with that at all. And I thought Patrick Wilson did his best with what he was given. Is it the best villain that I've ever seen? No, it's not. But you could see, like, when they show scenes where, the Atlanteans would throw all the rubbish back at the land dwellers, so to speak. There's a reason for what he's doing. So, like villains like Thanos and Vulture, you can understand where that hatred is coming from. So, I will say this, he's the best developed DC villain we've gotten so far. So they're on the right track. And like I said, everybody, Nicole Kidman, it was so fun to see her in an action type role, and everybody looked like they were having a good time. And that's what was important with this movie. This movie is very fun and carefree. for what it is. You know, thank God it's very colorful. It moves away from the dark and depressing sort of thing. We don't need that with all of these heroes. And I love that this character, he's a badass. He can fight. He's had a hard childhood, but he still loves who he is and what he's capable of doing. You know, he enjoys the discoveries of his abilities and so forth. So I like that as well. The score was great. Pitbull's song kind of stuck out like a sore thumb for me. You know, I wasn't a fan of that, but whatever. The soundtrack and the score worked for me. And overall, guys, I have to say Aquaman is a win. It did what it's supposed to do and it entertained us. Of course, it hits those beats like most origin stories, but it still managed not to bog itself down in that too much because we already know Aquaman's story from seeing him in Justice League. I think they did it right. I think this is the way they needed to handle this character. And could it have been tightened up here and there? Absolutely. But for what it is and for what DC has been trying to right the ship, so to speak, I give this a win. And I'm saying Aquaman gets a 7 out of 10. And that's it, guys. Better late than never on this review. I got it really late here in my country, Trinidad. We got it after Christmas. So, you know, all the family stuff. I had to find time to sit down and do this review. But I really wanted to get my thoughts out to you guys and to find out how you felt about this movie. So if you like this review, please feel free to hit that like button. It's very much appreciated. If you want to subscribe to my channel, you guys can click on my face over there. I'm on Stardust as well, under the same name, Movie Junkie, capital M, capital J. And until next time, guys. Bye-bye.